Court's big order on pollution. Supreme Court hits out at Aam Aadmi Party. Calls out optics and politics. Will Delhi breathe easy now? Big focus on 5 Live.
Good evening. You're watching 5 Live here on India Today. I'm Akshita and Nandagopal, and we're going to be focusing on the pollution SOS in the national capital. The Supreme Court today essentially conveying the message that every single Delhiite wants to tell our political dispensation. Enough of political bickering, enough of back and forth. Act now and end this pollution crisis that we talk about, unfortunately, every single year. We'll be getting you highlights of the Supreme Court's scathing order and directive to the AAP government, both here in Delhi and in Punjab. A quick check of the headlines first. Toxic haze shrouds national capital as air quality remains in the hazardous category. All schools up to class 9 shut and go into online mode in Noida. Mahadev betting app political fallout continues. Prime Minister Modi accuses Congress of fostering gambling among nation's youth.
कांग्रेस ने अपनी तिजोरी भरने के लिए आपके बच्चों से सट्टेबाजी करवाई है.
Big 2024 semi-final kicks off. Voting in Chhattisgarh and Mizoram underway. Chhattisgarh sees healthy voting in the Naxal hotbeds. Over 50% polling in Mizoram till 1 p.m. It's AIMIM versus Congress. Then the war of words escalates in poll-bound Telangana. Owaisi takes a jibe at Rahul Gandhi, says he has no political maturity. No end to Karnataka Congress CM Nataka. Valmiki Seer now backs Jarkiholi as CM face. Jarkiholi says ready to be CM in 2028. Sidhu gag order fails to stop the CM hopefuls. The apex court, the Supreme Court today didn't mince its words when pulling up the AAP government over their lack of action, leading to the same pollution crisis in the national capital every single year. Let me get you some of the highlights of what the Supreme Court has said, and essentially spoke what every Delhiite has been wanting to convey to our political dispensation, that Delhi can't be made to go through this every single year, that this can't be the same story of haze, of smog all around. Everything the Supreme Court has highlighted is merely being done on paper. There's no action on the ground, and that's why there's no difference really. The Supreme Court has also very clearly told every political party involved here, whether it's at the center, whether it's at the state, to stop the political blame game and act now. And that's why the apex court has highlighted that this can't be a political battle. This must be something where everyone works together to end this serious health crisis. The Supreme Court has sent out a message and in detail has spoken about how people are suffering as a consequence of the lack of political action, saying young children are suffering, and that's why we are at zero patience level. So they've vented out the frustration that every Delhiite is feeling right now. It didn't stop at this. Essentially, what the Supreme Court has highlighted is just a sense of the feeling that we've all been having for the last 10 days. The top court had clearly some extremely harsh words for the Aam Aadmi Party, both in power, remember, in Delhi and in Punjab. Mind you, Punjab is a state that currently has the largest number of farm fires among the capital's neighboring states. And as much as the Aam Aadmi Party has said, look at Haryana, They've done nothing about what's happening in Punjab. So let's tell you that the Supreme Court has highlighted this as well, saying that this is happening year after year. Delhi and Punjab have the same party in power. This is where they've directly pulled up the Aam Aadmi Party, saying you're in power in Delhi, you're in power in Punjab, and yet this is happening in the national capital, and that the pollution crisis hasn't been fixed. The Supreme Court has made it very clear that we don't care how, you have to ensure that farm fire, stubble burning stops, which is a major contributor to pollution crisis in the national capital. So the Supreme Court has said, we don't care how you do it, but it needs to be stopped ASAP, stopped now. Unfortunately, you see this kind of conversation about farm fires, and the Supreme Court has said this before as well, saying you must stop it. This time they've said that the cops must crack down and ensure there are no incidents of farm fires. But they've also said why. They've said we can't let people die like this, which is a grim reality, that people right now suffer from serious respiratory problems because of our political class letting us down. And the top court has highlighted this by also saying that the odd-even scheme brought by the AAP government, which comes into effect on Monday, is nothing but optics, that it does nothing on the ground, and data has essentially proved that as well. This morning, again, every Delhiite woke up to haze all around. And that clearly sent out a message that despite 1 week of this pollution crisis, nothing has been done. So much so that farm fires are again at a record high in Punjab. Let's get you, in fact, this detailed report. As we got you some of the highlights of what the Supreme Court has said, the reactions have followed thereafter. Are political parties finally going to act now? How did they react to the Supreme Court order?
Delhi can't be made to go through this year after year. Everything being done merely on paper. Stop the political blame game. This can't be a political battle. Young children are suffering. We are at zero patience level. The words of a furious Supreme Court issuing a stinging rap on the knuckles of Aam Aadmi Party governments in Delhi and Punjab. The top court has come down heavily on Aam Aadmi Party governments in the two states, terming some of its measures like the odd-even scheme as mere optics, lashing out at their failures to contain pollution and the raging farm fires, pointing out that young children are suffering because of politics played by netas. The Supreme Court has asked Delhi and neighbouring states to stop stubble burning immediately, making the chief secretaries and local police directly culpable. The Supreme Court also took note of India Today's report on locked smog towers in Delhi built at a cost of 23 crore rupees, seeking their immediate functioning and setting a November 10th deadline to curb the deathly pollution in the national capital region. A red-faced Aam Aadmi Party government said it would implement the Supreme Court order, but is now facing political attacks.
देखिए, अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो अपने ऑब्जर्वेशन दिए हैं, उस ऑब्जर्वेशन के साथ उनका डिटेल ऑर्डर जो भी आता है, हमारी सरकार उसको फॉलो करेगी, चाहे यहाँ पर हो या पंजाब में. और हमारा ये भी निवेदन है कि सभी सरकारें उसको फॉलो करें, क्योंकि सभी लोग मिल करके जब प्रयास करेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि पोल्यूशन का समाधान हम निकाल पाएंगे.
अरविंद केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी ने केवल दोषारोपण किया है, कभी केंद्र पर दोष, कभी उत्तर प्रदेश, हरियाणा, दिवाली, सभी लोगों पर दोष डाला, अपनी जिम्मेदारी नहीं उठाई. और आज इसलिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी फटकार लगाई है, कहा है ये ब्लेम गेम बंद कीजिए, अपनी जिम्मेदारी उठाइए.
Delhi NCR has been breathing literally poisoned air for days now, with air quality staying firmly in the red. Punjab has so far reported over 60% farm fires of this season in just 1 week, with stubble burning increasing by over 35% in the first week of November, jumping from over 7,600 last week to almost 12,000 now. Will the Supreme Court intervention unchoke India's capital? Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's take this across to our legal editor, Nalini Sharma, for more details and highlights of what the Supreme Court has said. Nalini, good evening. Much needed intervention by the Supreme Court in the pollution crisis in the national capital. And the Supreme Court, the judges, not sparing anyone involved, making it very clear that this is a political problem. There's a lack of will, and that's clear in the fact that there's been no solution found so far. But this is also, and let's face it, Nalini, the reality of what we've seen every single year, where the courts intervene every single year, use these kind of harsh words with a political class, and yet nothing changes.
Well, yes, Akshita, it does seem a little bit like deja vu at this point, because this is a pattern that's repeated year after year, not just by the political parties, like you correctly pointed out, but also by the Supreme Court of India, that is on a continuous basis monitoring this entire issue and the petitions pending before it on the issue of air pollution. But some very crucial things that the Supreme Court said today while hearing this entire matter. Number one, they've said that the Supreme Court categorically refrains itself from entering into policy decisions, because a few days back also the Supreme Court said that pollution is a policy decision that the government needs to look at. But today Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, mincing no words, has clearly gone ahead and said that if it requires Supreme Court's intervention to create a policy to tackle with this issue, then they are even ready to do that if the inaction by the government continues. What they've also done is that they've made the local administration in Punjab responsible for any fires that are happening. And thankfully, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul said that during the weekend, he was actually traveling through Punjab. So he's seen with his own eyes how there were fires burning on both sides of the road, and which is why they've passed these categorical orders saying that these farm fires must be stopped immediately. There is no question of sowing paddy when it's the health of the people and the lives of the citizens that is at risk. And keeping that in mind, the local administration has been made responsible to ensure that no farm fires occur from today onwards that the Supreme Court order has been passed.
So the local administration has been held accountable to stop farm fires. So far, while there have been promises on this front, the reality is that nothing's really been done on the ground. Thanks very much, Nalini, for joining us with those details and what's really played out in the Supreme Court. The reason we say that nothing has changed on ground is because our reality check from parts of Punjab shows that farm fires, stubble burning continues. It's rampant. Punjab has reported 2,060 farm fires just yesterday on November 6th. In the last 9 days alone, more than 15,000 cases of stubble burning have been reported in Punjab. Now, the total number of stubble burning incidents in Punjab this season stands somewhere close to 20,000 and 19,463. We've put that data out on your screens to show that if there's any claim of stubble burning dipping in the last many years and you compare it to now, yes, but it hasn't made any difference to the air because nearly 20,000 incidents are still being reported. The air quality in large parts of Punjab also remain in the unhealthy category.
Once known as the football of India, Punjab is in the news as farmers are setting ablaze the farm residue. We are in the Banoor area of Mohali district, where we can see a paddy field with the straws standing tall. Though the owner of this field, Balbir Singh, has already hired one straw reaper, but the straws can still be seen in this field as the machine is faulty and is not able to reap and chop all the straws. The claims being made by the state government that adequate number of machines have been provided falls flat here as the straws can still be seen in the fields. Farmers also say the diesel prices have gone up many times. The government is not offering any compensation to these farmers. The last resort with the farmers to clear these fields is nothing but to set the stubble ablaze. With camera person Aman Gupta, this is Manjeet Sehgal in Banoor for India Today.
Now, as the political blame game continues, let's show you the reality of how stubble burning continues in several parts of Punjab, leading to the toxic air in the national capital. From November 2nd, to November 6th till yesterday. If you look at the figures that we have, you can see that while there was a slight reduction by November 4th from 1,644 incidents of farm fires to about 1,360, there's a sudden rise, a huge spike, in fact, where it's nearly doubled on November 5th to 3,230. On November 6th, it was 2,060 farm fires. But this day here was the highest recorded in this season alone. And this graph shows you very clearly that no, there's been no stopping stubble burning at all. There's been a slight reduction from November 5th to November 6th, but obviously, a lot more needs to be done right now. And this is the story we're going to get you updates on every single day here on India Today, not just about the air quality, but also a reality check for our netas on whether action is being taken as per the Supreme Court's order. I'm slipping into a very short break here on 5 Live. Coming up on the other side, we'll be getting you the latest on the Israel-Hamas conflict. It's 1 month now of the war.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest, Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
Time for me to head for some tea and poha.
Congress has to try hard to win back.
That's what I wanted, my black chicken kadakna.
मेथी का लड्डू
ईडी अपने घर पहुंच गए।
स्वागत है उनका। 150 करोड़ की अघोषित संपत्ति जब्त होती है।
रायपुर आना है तो नुक्कड़ जरूर जाना है। छत्तीसगढ़ी थाली।
PSC is basically Party Service Commission.
छत्तीसगढ़िया।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Welcome back. It's been a month since hundreds of Hamas terrorists killed over 1,400 Israelis. Israel continues to pound Gaza in its operation to wipe out Hamas. And the bombardment is intensified in the Gaza Strip as Israeli defense forces continue to attack from ground, air and sea, worsening the Gaza crisis. Here's a look at the latest updates.
October the 7th, 2023. The darkest day unfolds in Israel's history. Hundreds of Hamas terrorists killed over 1,400 Israelis and people of other nationalities, butchering babies, randomly shooting, firing rocket-propelled grenades, burning homes, taking hundreds, including little children, hostage. followed was a vengeful Israel's unsparing reprisal attacks to finish the Hamas. Launching unsparing airstrikes on Hamas and a ground operation into the Gaza Strip. Now, over a month into the war, Israeli Defense Forces tank columns continue to roll across the Gaza Strip.
These efforts result in extraordinary achievements, including strikes on terrorists and their commands in the field. Just over the past day, we have eliminated both company commanders and battalion commanders, some of whom were expected to fill in for commanders we had eliminated 1 or 2 days prior.
The IDF on Tuesday announced that it has killed Hamas commander Wael Asafa, one of the masterminds of the October 7th terror attack. Jihad Shahade, commander of the military wing of the Fatah brigade, was also said to be eliminated. Israeli Air Force jets have struck over 450 Hamas targets in the past days, including tunnels and military compounds, often hidden among hospitals, schools and mosques. The IDF recovered over 50 rockets hidden in a Gaza compound used for youth activities, ready to be launched towards Israel.
We are shooting to help Israeli troops in Gaza Strip fighting Hamas. We are shooting very accurately, very precisely by coordinates given to us by officers on ground in Gaza Strip. We are doing anything we can to avoid civilian casualties. We don't want any civilian to get hurt. Unlike Hamas, it uses their own people as human shields.
Israel's military also released an aerial video showing Palestinian civilians in Gaza moving south after a directive by the IDF to vacate the northern areas, which are being struck the most. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called Israel's fight the last stand against terror and said if it fails, Europe too will fall.
If they go strong, if they're not defeated, they will derail this process. They will imperil the entire Middle East. If the Middle East falls to the axis of terror, Europe will be next, and no one will be safe. This is not a local battle. This is a global battle.
The Biden administration has said that a ceasefire now would help Hamas regroup and attack Israel again.
A ceasefire right now would not prevent Hamas from continuing terror attacks and firing rocket attacks at Israel in the future. And on the contrary, it would let Hamas off the hook, allow Hamas enough time to regroup, and we can't allow that.
Despite threats from Iran, Syria and Lebanon, there may be no let-up in Israel's attacks till the hostages remain in Hamas captivity.
People are prepared here to take care of any contingency. Soldiers here are prepared. The morale is high and they are ready to take on any kind of threat on as many fronts as it takes, be it from Hamas in the south, be it from Hezbollah in the north, or be it Syria in the east, or further south, be it Houthis in Yemen. This is Rajesh Pawar from Tri-Junction of Syria, Lebanon and Israel border for India Today.
And here on India Today, we'll continue getting you the latest ground reports that show you and give you a sense of where the Israel conflict with Hamas is headed. That's all we have time for in this edition of 5 Live. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up on the other side is a special from Telangana with Nabila Jamal, where she focuses on the women factor.
The women of Telangana have undoubtedly played a massive role in the Telangana formation. They've been part of the freedom struggle, but it's sad that they are not spoken about as much as the men who've struggled for this movement.
Acceptability of a woman among the leadership position is a bit low.
We are multifaceted. We are far, far, far better than the men.
Government has literally crushed the women population in Telangana.
It's a woman's decision which is going to decide the verdict of this elections in Telangana.
This is on iBraf. Follow me with me, Nabila Jamal, in this special to find out what the women of Telangana really want.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
एक तरफ भाजपा का संकल्प पत्र है तो दूसरी तरफ कांग्रेस का झूठ का कारोबार। आप सभी को कांग्रेस ने विश्वासघात के सिवाय कुछ नहीं दिया है। कांग्रेस ने छत्तीसगढ़ के युवाओं को क्या क्या सपने दिखाए थे और दिया क्या? उन्होंने महादेव के नाम पर भी घोटाला कर दिया। महादेव के नाम पर महादेव सट्टेबाजी घोटाले की चर्चा आज देश और विदेश में हो रही है। कांग्रेस ने अपनी तिजोरी भरने के लिए आपके बच्चों से सट्टेबाजी करवाई है।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Co-presented by आपका जॉय भारत का जॉय जॉय ई-बाइक, co-powered by पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी वडोदरा गुजरात।
The women of Telangana have undoubtedly played a massive role in the Telangana formation. They've been part of the freedom struggle, but it's sad that they are not spoken about as